Ah, traveler, take a seat. The fire is steady this evening. You know, some journeys end with song, and others end with silence. And sometimes the greatest victory is not the battle you survived, but the place you finally returned to. Tonight's tale is not of steel raised, but of steel laid down. Episode 12, A Place to Lay the Shield. They reached the house just as the last light faded. The sky burned orange and violet beyond the low hills, and Brackenfall's wall stood quiet in front of them, close enough to promise safety, far enough to remind them it was never free. The broken gate creaked as Kaelen pushed it open. No one spoke. The yard looked smaller than he remembered, and somehow larger. Weeds still choked the ground. The stone wall leaned in places, but the apple trees stood unchanged, their branches whispering softly in the evening air. Alira stepped inside the boundary and exhaled. "It still holds," she said quietly. The ward answered her, not with light or sound, but with absence. No pressure, no resistance, just peace. Kaelen unlocked the door. The house accepted them. Inside, the dust had settled again, but it no longer felt abandoned. Backs were dropped, weapons leaned against walls. The fire was rebuilt with practiced ease, and when the flames caught, the room warmed quickly like it had been waiting. Silas sank onto a crate and laughed under his breath. "I don't care if the roof leaks," he said. "I'm not sleeping on dirt tonight, and that's a win." Erin didn't answer. She simply sat near the hearth, back against the stone, eyes closed. For the first time since they left Gatewatch, they slept a deep, well-earned sleep. Morning came bright. Sunlight poured through cracked shutters, warming the floor and pulling them gently from sleep. Alira was the first up, already moving through the kitchen space, laying out bread and dried meat. Silas cracked eggs against the old pan. They scavenged, humming something off key. Kaelen watched it all from the doorway. This was what they'd been fighting toward. They ate well, laughed quietly, planned nothing beyond the next few hours. Then they packed the stone, carefully. Alira wrapped it once more in a stitched cloth, adjusting the grounding threads with practiced hands. "It's calmer," she said, "like it knows where it's going." Kaelen nodded. "Then let's finish this." The docks were alive with motion. Ropes creaked, crates shifted, the smell of the river and tar hung heavy in the air. They found Helvin Ma seated near the end of the pier, repairing a net with hands that moved slower than memory, but steadier than regret. He looked up when they approached and froze. "You came back," he said. Kaelen said nothing. Alira stepped forward and gently set the wrapped stone down between them. The old man closed his eyes. For a long moment, he simply breathed. You don't know how many years I waited to see that again." He unwrapped it himself, just enough. The runes dimmed. Satisfied, he nodded. "Well done," he said. "Better than we ever were." He reached beneath the bench and produced a small iron chest. Inside lay coin, gold, and silver mixed into a rolled parchment stamped and sealed. "The deed," he said, pushing it toward Kaelen. "House and land, yours. no claim remaining. Silas let out a low whistle. Helvin wasn't finished. From within his coat, he withdrew a second item, a small metal seal, etched with a Hunter's Guild crest, older than any Kaelen had seen. This, Helvin said, is proof of a completed contract. One the Guild forgot, one no one took. He met Kaelen's eyes. Turn it in. Kaelen hesitated, but we never took a Guild job. Helvin smiled faintly. You did something way harder. He leaned back. The Guild will know what this means. Then he stood slowly and exhaled. Extended his hand. Gave an old man his piece. He said, and you earn more than shelter. Kaelen took his hand. That evening, they returned home. The fire was already waiting. As Silas stirred the hearth, something clicked. A loose stone, and behind it, wrapped in oilcloth, lay a final gift. A letter, and more coin, and a rune-carved stone warm to the touch. Lyra smiled as she turned it over. This will help, she said. With repairs, with a ward, Kaelen set the stone back in place. The hearth glowed brighter. For the first time since stepping through the gate, Kaelen removed his shield and set it down, just for the night. This concludes our tale. Not every hero seeks a throne. Some seek a place of rest. Until next time, traveler, may your fire burn steady and your shelter hold strong.